All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into the mind of Warren Buffett,
Oh, yeah.
one of the most legendary investors
Yeah.
of all time. And to help us do that, we have this YouTube video called Warren Buffett's Most Iconic Interview Ever
Yeah, great video.
from the Free Investing channel.
It's packed with great stuff.
And it is just packed with insights and stories from his entire career.
His whole life, yeah.
So are you ready to kind of dive into what makes Buffett tick?
I am ready.
How he spots those golden opportunities and the principles that have just built his empire?
Yeah, I think one thing that really comes through in this interview is how consistent his core investment philosophy has been over decades.
Yeah.
Even as the markets, gone through all these wild swings and changes.
Yeah. It's amazing to think that back in 1956, when a young Buffett returned to Omaha after learning from the great Benjamin Graham, his goals were actually pretty modest.
Yeah, he talks about that.
He wasn't setting out to conquer Wall Street.
Not at all.
Was he?
He actually mentions starting out with about $150,000
Yeah.
and aiming for a 10% return.
Wow.
He was perfectly content with just, living comfortably, spending time reading, taking courses, maybe even going to law school.
Wow.
Pretty different from what we think of now.
Totally different.
In the high-stakes world of finance.
Yeah, it almost seems like he stumbled into his destiny a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Really?
He first manages investments for just a few family members, then a former colleague of Graham's, then a friend in Omaha, and suddenly he's running a full-fledged partnership.
Yeah, I think it shows how important it is to just recognize those opportunities when they come along for anyone, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffett's talent and dedication definitely amplified those chances.
Sure.
But just being open to them in the first place, I think, was key.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And speaking of opportunity, let's talk about Berkshire Hathaway.
Okay.
It all began with a textile company, which isn't exactly the most glamorous industry, is it?
Not really. No. In fact, he admits that buying that textile company was a mistake.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
He thought he knew textiles, but it turned out to be a big lesson for him.
Okay.
And sticking to your circle of competence.
Yeah, this is crucial for any investor, isn't it?
It is.
Really knowing what you're good at.
Yeah.
And maybe even more importantly, what you don't know.
What you don't know and what you should stay away from.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's about understanding your strengths and limitations as an investor.
Yeah.
I think that's what he learned from that textile company.
Yeah.
But even though that initial business wasn't a winner,
Yeah.
buying Berkshire Hathaway accidentally gave him this platform that he needed to build his empire.
Yeah, it's interesting how a misstep can sometimes lead to unexpected success.
It is.
Yeah, it's like Berkshire Hathaway became his canvas in a way. And this brings us to the core of Buffett's investment philosophy.
Okay.
The value of finding wonderful businesses.
Right.
He's not about chasing quick profits or jumping on every trendy bandwagon, is he?
Not at all. His focus is on companies that have a strong, long-term competitive advantage. And that are managed by people he trusts.
Yeah.
And of course, getting them at a good price is key.
Right.
A classic example of this is his investment in the Washington Post.
Oh, yeah, that's one for the books, for sure. Remind us about that one.
All right, so picture this. It's 1973.
Okay.
And the Washington Post is really struggling.
Yeah.
The stock price has plummeted.
Wow.
But Buffett steps in and buys almost 10% of the company for around $100 million.
Wow.
Why? Because he recognized that its intrinsic value was much higher.
Okay.
More like closer to $500 million.
So he spotted a bargain that others were too afraid to touch.
Exactly.
Wow, and it paid off big time in the long run.
Yeah, it did.
That must have taken some serious courage.
It did.
Isn't that a bit risky for the average investor, though?
Well, it's important to remember that he doesn't just jump into these situations blindly.
Okay.
He did his homework. He understood the newspaper industry. He saw the value of the Washington Post brand.
Yeah.
And crucially, he believed in the management team.
Okay.
The Graham family.
Right.
Trusting competent leadership and taking a hands-off approach is really a hallmark of his style.
Yeah.
So yes, there's risk, but it's calculated risk.
Right.
Based on deep knowledge and understanding.
He doesn't get bogged down in the day-to-day. He's looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and when you think about the big picture, you have to talk about Buffett's famous long-term vision and his contrarian approach to investing.
Yeah.
It's almost like he sees the world in slow motion, right?
It is. He famously buys when others are fearful, just like he did with the Washington Post.
Yeah.
And his commitment to holding investments for the long haul is incredible.
Right.
Take the dot-com bubble, for example.
Yeah.
Everyone was scrambling for tech stocks, and good old Coca-Cola, one of his holdings, was considered boring.
Right.
But he didn't sell.
He held on.
He held on. He knew that Coke's value would endure.
Yeah.
He often compares Berkshire Hathaway to a painting he's constantly working on.
Okay.
Adding fresh strokes over decades.
He's like that.
He's not interested in flipping canvases for a quick profit.
So patience is key.
Yes.
I bet you anything our listeners can relate to that feeling of investment impatience.
Absolutely.
Waiting for the right deal, feeling like they're missing out on the next big thing. Surely Buffett has felt that too, right?
Oh, sure.
He can't be immune to those feelings.
Well, he actually talks about how hard it is to find what he calls elephants.
Okay.
Those large-scale investments that can truly move the needle.
Right.
For a company as massive as Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah. It makes sense, though. The bigger you get, the harder it is to find opportunities that are really going to make an impact.
That's right. And that's a challenge that, many investors face.
Yeah.
Even on a much smaller scale.
Oh, yeah, totally. And so finding those elephants takes patience and discipline.
It does.
And speaking of discipline, there's the whole thing about Buffett's cash reserves.
Yes.
Why does he always have billions just sitting there?
Right.
Is he being overly cautious?
Well, it's a strategy with a couple of purposes.
Okay.
First, it's about preparedness.
Okay.
When those rare elephant opportunities pop up,
yeah,
he wants to be ready to act fast.
Right. Be able to jump on it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Second, a good chunk of that cash is tied to his insurance businesses.
Okay.
He calls Berkshire a rocket scarer.
Okay.
Meaning they need to have enough liquidity to fulfill their obligations.
Got it.
Even if a major disaster happens.
So what he's really doing is protecting the business and the people who rely on it. I think this highlights the importance of having a financial cushion, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Even for those of us who aren't, managing billions.
It's about that financial security and peace of mind.
Yeah.
Now, one story that I think perfectly illustrates Buffett's ability to act fast and to recognize the right opportunity is the ISCAR acquisition.
Oh, yes. This one is a great story.
Yeah, set the scene for us.
Okay, so imagine this, out of the blue. Buffett gets an email from a CEO he's never even heard of. This CEO, Eaton Wertheimer, runs a metalworking company in Israel called ISCAR. Wertheimer believes that Berkshire Hathaway would be the perfect home for his business.
Okay.
Hold on. A multi-billion-dollar deal sparked by a random email.
It's wild.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time.
It's a fantastic example of how the right opportunities often come to you when you least expect them.
Yeah.
Buffett emphasizes that many deals happen because the seller is ready, not because he's out there aggressively hunting.
So it's a waiting game then.
Yeah.
Being ready when opportunity knocks.
Right.
But when he sees the right deal, he must know instantly.
Right? He says it's like knowing you've met the right person.
Yeah.
You just know.
Wow.
And with ISCAR, he made his decision within minutes.
That's incredible.
It shows the importance of preparation.
Right.
And knowing what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You need to be able to quickly assess whether a deal fits your criteria.
That's a good point. You know, this brings up an interesting thing. We're talking about Warren Buffett here.
Right.
He's got decades of experience, a brilliant team, and access to information most of us can only dream of.
Right.
So while his principles are super valuable, we have to be realistic about applying them to our own lives, right?
You're absolutely right. We can't all be Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
But we can adopt some of his key habits.
Okay.
Thinking long-term, doing thorough research, and making investment decisions based on our own understanding, not just following the crowd.
That's good advice. Now, I know Buffett doesn't spend a lot of time analyzing macroeconomic trends.
No.
But he does have some thoughts on the economy,
Yeah.
inflation and trade that I think are worth exploring.
He's a firm believer in focusing on businesses, not broad economic forecasts.
Okay.
But he does express concern about inflation, especially given certain government policies.
Okay.
He sees it as a problem that can quickly get out of control,
right,
potentially impacting the value of investments over time.
So even though he focuses on individual businesses, He acknowledges that the broader economic context matters.
It does, yeah.
That's something every investor needs to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
Right.
The economic environment can really impact a company's performance.
Yeah.
So you can't just ignore it.
Yeah. Another interesting point is that he brings up the U.S. trade deficit and what he calls trading away assets. He's essentially saying we're selling off pieces of our national wealth to keep buying things we don't really need.
Yeah. He's concerned about that.
It sounds like he's concerned about the long-term sustainability of certain economic behaviors, which I think ties back to his long-term thinking, right?
It does. He's always considering the bigger picture.
That's a lot to absorb. We've covered Buffett's early days, his philosophy of seeking out those wonderful businesses, his contrarian approach, and the importance of patience and discipline.
Right.
We even touched on his thoughts about the broader economy.
Yeah.
We're just scratching the surface here, but hopefully you're starting to understand what makes this guy tick.
Yeah, I think what's remarkable is just how consistent his core principles have been throughout his career.
Yeah.
He truly embodies the power of long-term thinking, patience, and a deep understanding of the businesses he invests in.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's just a phenomenal example of someone who built an empire based on those principles.
You did.
But before we get too carried away, it's crucial to remember that Buffett operates on a scale that most of us just can't even imagine.
Of course.
He's working with billions, has a team of experts, and wields just an incredible amount of influence in the market.
Right.
So while his insights are invaluable, we need to be realistic about applying them to our own investment journeys, right?
You are spot on.
Yeah.
It's not about trying to replicate his every move.
Yeah.
It's about adopting the principles that fit our own situations and goals.
You know, listening to him talk about finding those elephants has me wondering if you had his resources and that long-term perspective, what kind of elephant would you be searching for today?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, it makes you think.
It does. It really makes you think. You know, it's fascinating how Buffett's approach to investing almost feels like a counterculture.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world.
Yeah. Right.
Where everything moves so fast. He's all about playing the long game.
Yeah.
Ignoring the hype and just focusing on the fundamentals.
Right.
Do you think this approach is still relevant?
Yeah.
Even with all the rapid changes that are happening?
Yeah. It's a great question. It makes you wonder if he's still finding those opportunities in today's market.
Right.
It's like he's the tortoise and the hare story, right?
Yeah.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly.
Focusing on long-term value. He makes it sound so simple.
Right.
Find great businesses, buy them at a reasonable price, and let them do their thing. But there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there?
There is. Well, the concept might sound simple.
Yeah.
The real challenge is identifying those wonderful businesses that have a durable competitive advantage.
Right.
This requires going beyond just looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the dynamics of the industry, the strength of their brand, the quality of their leadership, and their ability to adapt to change.
Yeah. It's like he's looking for companies that are built to last, not just riding a temporary wave.
Exactly. And finding those companies requires a lot of research, critical thinking, and the ability to kind of form your own judgments.
Yeah.
Buffett really stresses the importance of independent thinking.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to investing.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up.
It is.
In the excitement of the market or to feel pressured to follow the crowd. But he has the discipline to just stay focused and patient.
He does.
Waiting for the right opportunities to come to him.
Yep.
I think that's something we can all learn from.
Yeah.
Especially when the market feels chaotic.
Absolutely.
Or unpredictable.
It's about resisting that urge to chase quick profits.
Yeah.
Or jump in and out of investments.
Right.
Based on those short-term market fluctuations.
Exactly.
It's about sticking to your investment strategy and not letting emotions drive your decisions.
That discipline is especially important when you're dealing with the kind of sums that he manages.
Oh, absolutely.
He's willing to bet big, but he's also incredibly cautious.
Yeah.
Always making sure that Berkshire Hathaway has the reserves to withstand market downturns or unexpected events. He seems to have mastered that balance between boldness and caution.
That's the paradox of Buffett, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's a risk taker and a risk manager.
Right.
Bold and cautious.
Yeah.
He understands that true success in investing comes from finding that delicate balance between those two seemingly opposing forces.
And he doesn't shy away from admitting his mistakes.
No, he doesn't.
He talks very openly about his experience buying that second textile company, knowing deep down it was probably not a good decision.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear him acknowledge his own fallibility.
It is.
It makes him more relatable.
More human.
More human. It reminds us that even the most successful investors make mistakes. What sets them apart is their ability to learn from those mistakes.
Right.
And use those lessons to improve their decision-making.
It's a good reminder that making mistakes is part of the process.
It is.
As long as we learn from them.
Right.
And sometimes those mistakes can lead to unexpected successes.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about Berkshire Hathaway.
Right.
What started as a misstep in the textile industry became the foundation for his entire empire.
Exactly. It's a great example of how the path to success isn't always a straight line.
Totally.
There will be detours, wrong turns, and setbacks.
Yeah.
What matters is how we adapt, learn from those experiences, and continue to look for those new opportunities.
One thing that really struck me in this interview is his emphasis on the importance of understanding people. He speaks about Mrs. B, the woman behind Nebraska Furniture Mart, with such admiration.
Yeah.
It's clear that he values those personal connections.
He does.
Insights.
He's drawn to people who are passionate, hardworking, and deeply knowledgeable about their business. He sees these qualities as much more important than fancy degrees.
Wow.
Or complex financial models.
He's looking beyond the balance sheets.
Yes.
And into the hearts of the businesses he invests in.
That's a great way to put it.
And remember Kay Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post?
Yes.
He saw her, potential mentored her.
Yeah.
And they built a strong partnership that benefited both of them.
It's a great example of how investing isn't just about crunching numbers.
Right.
It's about understanding the people behind those numbers.
Yeah.
The leaders who drive those businesses. It's about finding individuals you can trust who have integrity and who are committed to building sustainable, successful enterprises.
That's such a powerful reminder.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the story of Eaton Wertheimer, the CEO of Iskar Buffett, didn't know him or his company.
Yeah.
Before that email landed in his inbox.
Amazing.
It's amazing how one connection can lead to a multi-billion-dollar acquisition.
It shows us that sometimes the best opportunities come from the most unexpected places.
Absolutely.
Being open to new connections, listening to different perspectives, and being willing to kind of step outside of your comfort zone can lead to incredible outcomes.
It makes you wonder what other hidden gems are out there just waiting to be discovered.
Right.
And how can we as individuals cultivate that openness to unexpected opportunities?
It's a great question to consider.
Yeah.
It starts with being curious.
Okay.
Willing to explore new ideas and connecting with people outside of our usual circles.
Right.
You never know where your next great opportunity might come from.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's been on my mind. We know he has a mountain of cash at his disposal.
Yes.
But he's not spending it recklessly.
Right.
He's waiting patiently for those elephants, the investments that can make a significant impact.
Right.
His discipline and patience are truly remarkable.
They are. He isn't swayed by market hype or pressured to deploy capital just because it's sitting there.
Right.
He sticks to his principles and waits for those rare deals that meet his criteria.
Okay.
It's a testament to his long-term vision and his commitment to making strategic investments, not impulsive ones.
He seems to be playing a different game than most investors.
He is.
He's not trying to hit singles or doubles. He's swinging for the fences.
Right.
And when you're dealing with billions of dollars, those home runs have to be truly spectacular.
They do.
It's fascinating to see how he operates on such a large scale.
It's a stark contrast to the short-term thinking that dominates so much of the investing world today.
Yeah.
Buffett thinks in decades, not quarters.
Wow.
He's building a legacy, not just chasing quick profits.
Right.
This long-term perspective shapes everything he does.
Yeah.
From his investment decisions to how he structures deals.
Right.
And even how he thinks about his succession plan.
It influences everything.
It does. He's already chosen his successor.
Okay.
Ensuring that Berkshire Hathaway will continue to thrive.
Wow.
Even after he's gone.
Yeah. He's playing the long game in every sense of the word.
He is.
That's true vision and leadership.
Absolutely. He's thinking about the future of the company and its stakeholders, ensuring its continued success for generations to come.
Which brings us back to that thought-provoking question that you posed earlier. If you had his resources and that long-term vision, what kind of elephant would you be searching for today?
That's a great question that really gets you thinking, I think. That's a great question that really gets you thinking. I think I'd be looking for businesses that are tackling some of the world's most pressing challenges.
Okay.
Like climate change, sustainable agriculture, or expanding access to quality education and healthcare.
Okay.
Areas where there's a real need and the potential to make a lasting positive impact.
Those are some ambitious goals.
They are.
It's incredible to think that, through investing, you can actually contribute to making the world a better place.
Absolutely. It's not just about generating financial returns.
Right.
It's about aligning your capital with your values. And who knows, maybe those impact investments will end up being the most successful ones in the long run.
That's a really compelling idea.
It is.
It's like combining profit with purpose.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Okay.
We've been talking about Warren Buffett.
Right.
A man who built a fortune through investing. What about the average person?
Yeah.
Can we really learn anything from him?
That's a fair question.
Or is this all just a bit too high level for us regular folks?
Look, we're not all going to have his resources or his track record.
Right.
But his core principles are incredibly relevant.
Okay.
No matter how much money you're working with.
Yeah. So it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's about the mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about developing those habits of thinking long-term, doing your research, being patient, and not being afraid to go against the grain.
Yeah.
These are valuable lessons for anyone.
Right.
Whether you're investing in the stock market, starting a business, or even just managing your personal finances.
One of the things I admire most about him is his willingness to share his knowledge so openly.
Yeah.
He's written books, given countless interviews, and even holds those legendary annual meetings that draw people from all over the world.
They're amazing.
He's not hoarding his secrets.
Nope.
He's actually encouraging people to learn and make informed investment decisions.
Yeah, that's something we can all appreciate.
Yeah.
Regardless of our experience.
It's almost like he's saying, hey, I've figured out a few things that work.
Right.
Here's what I've learned.
Now go out there and make something great happen.
Exactly.
It's pretty inspiring, wouldn't you say?
It is. It reminds us that we can all learn from those who have achieved great success, and that investing wisely is a skill that can be developed with hard work, discipline, and a commitment to lifelong learning.
It's a journey, not a destination.
It is.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
All right.
We've talked about his investment philosophy, his incredible journey, and the valuable lessons we can all take away.
Yeah.
But even Buffett acknowledges that the world is changing rapidly.
Yes.
And that the future of investing might look very different from the past.
Yeah, things change.
So here's my question for you. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing investors today?
Okay.
And how can we as individuals prepare for the future of finance?
That's a big question. I think one of the biggest challenges is just the sheer amount of information.
Oh, yeah. And misinformation that we're bombarded with.
Right. It's overwhelming.
Every single day. It's harder than ever to filter out the noise and focus on what really matters.
It's a great point. It's like we're drowning in data but starving for wisdom.
Yes, exactly.
How can we cut through the clutter and make smart decisions?
I think it's crucial to develop a strong sense of critical thinking.
Okay.
And to be very discerning about the sources you rely on for information.
Right.
Don't just blindly follow trends or jump on the bandwagon. Do your own research.
Okay.
Understand the underlying fundamentals of a business or investment.
Yeah.
And always be willing to question assumptions.
That's excellent advice.
Yeah.
We have to be active participants in our financial journeys.
We do.
Not passive consumers of information.
Yes.
It's about taking control, educating ourselves.
Exactly. And remember that learning is a continuous process.
Yeah.
The financial world is constantly evolving.
Right.
So staying curious, adaptable, and open to new ideas is essential.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay.
Seek guidance from trusted sources.
Right.
And continue to refine your investment strategies over time.
This has been a fantastic exploration of Warren Buffett's wisdom and investment strategies.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
That's my pleasure.
And helping us unpack some of his key principles.
I always enjoyed discussing his approach and how we can all apply his timeless wisdom to this ever-changing world of finance.
We hope you found this deep dive valuable.
Yeah, I hope so.
And that you're walking away with some fresh perspectives.
Yes.
And inspiration for your own investment journey.
Absolutely.
Remember, as Buffett himself said, the best investment you can make is in yourself.
That's right.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those elephants in your sights.
Until next time, happy investing.
See you on our next deep dive.